Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another transport ship, but this time this is a large block transport ship, and it is a very large ship in general, and it's called the ICS 4C6J Squatina, which is this lovely thing that I'm currently standing on. So this is a very clean and very sleek designed ship that features only ion thrusters to get around, so you are only really good for space or going near moons, and does feature one hell of a lot of cargo for you to store a bunch of stuff inside, and when you spawn it into your world, it comes ready with some resources inside it. So pressing F10 find this in spawn menu, the Squatina is 1631 large blocks, and I do hope I'm saying the name correctly, there it is up there. But yes, it uses the Deco Block number 2, Heavy Industry, Warfare 2, Sparks of the Future, Warfare 1 and Wasteland DLC packs. We also have one hell of a lot of information about it, and some very important information at the top, where it can fly in gravity up to 0.25 Gs. So there is its limit, and of course we've got specifications where we've got its weight, PCU, and all the way down to here, which I absolutely love to see, are all the controls, which does help me when I go through all the stuff. But yes, giving this thing a thumbs up. Moving around towards the very front, we'll have a quick look around the outside, a very quick tour of the interior, because it does have a small, very small interior. Then we'll go and fly around for a bit, and I think that'll be that. It's not really a combat ship, it does have a few guns on this, a few custom guns, but I don't think it's going to stand a chance against a pirate outpost. So at the very front, this is what we can see of this lovely big ship. So right in the middle, we've got ourselves our camera to drive this thing around, and that camera is going to be very useful because of where our cockpit is positioned. Surrounding all of that, we've got some lovely white and blue blocks that give it that overall clean design. Right in the middle of this section where it looks like a giant railgun, we've got a bunch of large ion thrusters to help slow this thing down. And if we was to move the camera all the way around this ship, and actually look at it from this side, it does look like it could be a giant railgun barrel. If you were to say add a section onto this part, add it onto a rotor, add it onto a hinge, and then replace those ion thrusters with actual railgun guns, you could have a pretty fancy turret out of this. But yes, going back around towards the very front and putting the camera all the way through, this is simply what it looks like. Above us, we've got a bunch of solar panels for some renewable power. Then along the side, we've got some fantastic use for armoured plates, just to add a bit of decoration. And that's what it looks like from this side, facing forwards. We've got some lovely blue neon tubes. Coming out of this and moving around onto the side that has the sunlight, I believe it was this side or it was this side. I think it was this side it's going to have to do. Yes, moving along there's our lovely corrugated steel skin. Over to this section, there's our armoured panels. And if you were to move all the way along to this section, some fantastic use of our window blocks, right next to a bunch of wheel suspensions. Over to this section, the armoured panels continue, until we get over to this part, we've got our first of a few custom weapons. So this is once again a custom autocannon turret, where it uses a hinge on a rotor, and then we've got 8 autocannons to blast your enemies with. If you were to look at it from the top, that's what it looks like, then around from behind, there we go. So you do have an access point on there if you want to manually load it up, or if you somehow get disconnected in the middle of the ship. If I put my light off and moving back over to this section, there's a large thruster, 2 of them, to help you on your left and right hand side. There's a merge block and connector setup, so you can dock this up to a station, and of course to empty or load up anything into the ship. There is our doorway to get inside. We do have 3 ways to get inside the ship, one on the opposite side and one below the ship. We do have a camera to make sure you're not going to open the door to any kind of enemies. Moving towards the back of the ship, past that other ion thruster, we then see the side of another ion thruster, where if we were to come around towards the very back of this thing, this is what's going to push us around. So we've got 6 large ion thrusters, and then 6 heat vents in the middle. We also have another camera to appear right behind us to see if anyone's chasing us. And once again, some fantastic use for our armoured panels, just to cover up the top of our ion thrusters, and give it that overall sleek design. Moving all the way up and looking down at it, there's the top of our ion thrusters. Then moving all the way along, there's some more ion thrusters to move us down. Over to this section, that's our cockpit to drive this thing around, and that's basically all the interior on the ship. We'll come back to that a bit later. Over to this section, we've got a few more ways to go around into the ship. There's a couple of hydrogen tanks, there's all of our cargo containers, and then going towards the front there where I'm standing, we do have a couple more ion thrusters, then towards the front there, and there's our solar panels. Moving down and coming under this thing, past this front section, all the way down, putting my light on once again, and moving across to this one, there's our thrusters to slow ourselves down, there's our thrusters to move us down in space. Over to this section, we've got a bunch of gyroscopes to move this thing around, as well as 4 jump drives, where we should be able to jump roughly 2,300 kilometers, which is pretty nice stuff. Moving over to this section, there's a reactor next to some neon tubes, and over to this part, there's a bonfire hydrogen tanks, there's our other access point that we saw from the top, and towards the back there's our 3rd door to get inside our cockpit, there's our thrusters to keep us off the ground, when we're near a moon. Towards the very back of this ship, there's our large iron thrusters, and a nice lot of detail to go along with it. And there we go, that's a very brief look around the outside of this ship, and looks bloody fantastic with how it's all been set up. Like I said before, it's a very sleek and very elegant design for a transport ship, and does have a nice bit of firepower on here, so it's not completely left vulnerable to any kind of drone attacks. So now what I'm going to do is just grab hold of my character. For the moment, what we're going to do is find those little yellow patches, which with the little steps go all the way down. They were sort of in that direction, right over here, next to our hydrogen tanks. We can just drop all the way down, put my jetpack on, moving down. Round to here, we've got a little access point next to our cargo containers, so we can monitor what's inside them. If I can get my character to clamp down, there we are. So now coming to here, we can see we've got a bunch of cobalt in this one, walking all the way along next to our blue armored panels that we saw on the side. In this one, we've got some more cobalt. Then coming across here, here's our jump drives, and we can just about walk all the way across towards the very front, in case we need to do some maintenance work. We're going to come all the way up, and continue into this. We now move down just a little bit more. If I can get my character inside, down we come, past this sort of block, all the way down here. Here's the area where we just saw, so that's our cargo containers once again. Then down towards the bottom here, this is what we saw at the very bottom of the ship, next to our hydrogen tanks. Anyway, moving back up to the top, over to this section where I was standing at the start, we now walk down these steps, and this will take us to our doorway, go inside our cockpit. So moving past this, past our cargo containers, into here, double door for an airlock, and there we go. So this is our interior where we're instantly greeted by a transparent LCD screen. To the left is our oxygen vent to make sure we don't suffocate. To our right, we've got a way down that goes to the door below our ship. We've got freight crates, LCD screen telling us our cargo used. Then walking all the way around, there's a door on the side. There's a door on the opposite side, and a survival kit in the floor. So yes, there is 4 ways to get in this ship, not 3. I always forget about the one right over there. Anyway, yes, there's a shelf over here. I think all that's left to do now is, of course, get into the cockpit, bring up the HUD. It's got quite a few controls to go through. So number 1, 2, and 3 is going through our cameras all the way around the ship. So this is our front, this is our front at the top, and then this is our rear camera. Number 4 is a emergency toggle for all of your guns, where you can press that, and that'll just lock all the hinges, lock all the rotors, make sure that they don't wobble around or damage anything while you're driving the ship around. Number 5, 6, and 7 is for our custom weapon controller, with number 5 being our lock on, number 6 being forget target, then number 7 is for your AI on and off. Number 8 is for your antenna on and off, number 9 is for your beacon, then over to tab number 2 we've got a jump drive, where we can jump 2,256.15 kilometers, which is very nice stuff for a almost full transport ship. Number 2 and 3 is for our jump range, where we can manually turn that down or turn that up. Number 4 is for our iron thrusters at the front to turn them off so we can go into a cruise control. Number 5 and number 6 is for our thruster override. Number 7 is for our thrusters all the way around the ship to turn them on and off. Then we've got our cameras once again, where 8 is for our front, and number 9 is for our rear, like the one on the first tab. Coming to tab number 3, we've got even more cameras, then a bunch of connectors and merge blocks, where number 1 is going to be for our front, number 2 is going to be for our left, number 3 is for our right, number 4 is for our bottom, number 5 is once again for the rear camera. Number 6, 7, and 8 is for our connectors all the way around the ship to lock and unlock them. Number 9 is for our merge blocks on the side to turn them on and off. Coming out of that and into tab number 4, and they've got hydrogen engines on and off, O2 H2 generators, reactors, hydrogen tanks to stock power on and off. Number 5 is for our batteries to auto or recharge. Number 6 for our oxygen tanks to stock power on and off. Number 7 is a master toggle to close all the doors around the ship. Number 8 and 9 is for our lights around the ship. Then onto tab number 5, we've got our custom weapon controllers, where we can finally take over them and start to shoot them. So here we are on the left hand side, where we can just move this up and start to shoot it, and that's going to deal one hell of a lot of damage to our enemies. It was to find the free camera and find out where that was shooting from. I think it was this one, all the way over, and shoot it once again. That's going to be one hell of a lot of damage dealt. And yes, just to move this thing around, we can spin it, we can lift it up, and we can get basically all the views we need. So putting it back to how it was, if I can, that should do quite nicely. Coming out of that and pressing number 2, there can be one on the opposite side. We've got number 3, number 4 for our lock on and to forget target. Number 5 is to change our targeting, which I like to keep on weapons. Then number 6 is once again for our air controlled on and off, with 7 and 8 being for our left and right camera attached to our guns. And with that all done and out of the way, that is that for the controls of the ship. That's that for the outside and interior of the ship. So now all we've got to do is drive this thing around, and I think that'll be that. So moving forwards, this is what we get, and look at that lovely glow from those iron thrusters. Absolutely love these blocks. Yes, we are rather slow at the end of the day, but that's to be expected from a very large and extremely heavy transport ship. And yes, coming to a stop, we are also very slow, so do be aware that if you're trying to pull up to your base at high speed, you can overshoot it, or worse, slam straight into it and destroy everything you're carrying and everything you created. Moving left, and moving around, we're very slow with that. And then moving down doesn't feel too bad, it feels very similar to forwards and backwards. And then moving up should be basically the same. And yes, it is. But as for gyroscope controls, this is what we get. It's surprisingly responsive for such a large and heavy ship. Usually these types of ships are very hard to move around, take a lot of work with the mouse. This one seems to be very well balanced and has plenty of control. But as for that, that's pretty much it for the ship has to offer. I think one final thing to do is of course to slam it straight into an asteroid. That looks like the perfect candidate up ahead. And here we go, we're now approaching the asteroid at maximum speed. We're going to follow it along like so. And anytime now we're going to go slamming into it with all of its weight. And I'm expecting a massive amount of destruction. Here we go, all the way forwards. And look at that go. Well, my computer is not loving that. That was one hell of a lot of destruction. It was to try and get out my character and try and find out where it was. Wow. Look at the destruction. We lost the complete front of the ship. All we got left is the back of it. Thrusters are still going, so we've got some power on this somewhere. But look at the damage dealt. We completely shaved off the first 3/4 of the ship. And that's all that remains. So yes, that's that for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. There'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around yourself. Highly recommend you do. There'll also be links to the Skybox I'm currently using, which is called the Frozen Throne. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.